It's just another Saturday spent wandering around the MFA when I stumbled upon a peculiar display. The small dark room had 3 sculptures shown with text explaining the exhibit, consisting of just one fragmented artwork. As I spent more time examining the work, its details amazed me. It's not very often that I feel this way about an artwork, and never in my life have I seen such an impressive ceramics piece. Let me attempt to share this experience with you as I explore and examine the career of the late artist Nishida Jun. But before I get started, please make sure to subscribe. Okay, let's go. Nishida was born in 1977 in Osaka and later studied ceramics at Kyoto Seika University, earning his Master of Fine Arts degree in 2002. Unfortunately, I can't find much information about his life before this. After he got his degree, he went on to enter many art competitions and won many prestigious awards. He was active during the Heisei period in Japan, which spanned from 1989 to 2019. For art, this was a time for breaking boundaries and flourishing contemporary art form. Nishida was a highly recognized and prized artist of the era, forging a new artistic path for ceramics in modern Japan. What made him so remarkable was the technique he used to create his famous works. For those unfamiliar with the pottery creation process, let me break it down for you. Works are typically sculpted or carved out of moist yet tough clay or porcelain before adding a glaze, which is a paint composed mostly of extremely fine glass pieces and dye, or it can come in a powdered form, which is what Nishida Jun often used. Once this is completed, it is fired in the kiln, which is like an oven for making cool art. When it's in the kiln, the clay bakes. This process also turns the clay into its final color. For example, if you want to make your clay bowl blue, the color of the blue glaze might be green before you fire it, but once it comes out of the kiln, you have a shiny sky-colored work of art. Due to the high temperatures required to harden the material, works can break or even shatter completely in the kiln if the proper technique isn't used. When there are multiple works in the kiln at once, if one explodes, it can cause the destruction of the other artworks in the kiln. As you can tell, this is an intricate process. With so many small details, there exists plenty of room for experimentation and expression within ceramics alone. Nishida was known to use these temperature-dependent qualities to warp porcelain into magnificent pieces of art. Unfortunately, there also exist countless opportunities for accidents of all kinds, some with fatal consequences. Both sides of this coin present themselves in Nishida Jun's biography. After he had become a world-renowned artist, he and some of his art colleagues embarked on a trip to Bali. Their mission was to help the Balinese ceramicists preserve and revive their traditional techniques. In order to make pottery, you need a kiln to fire them. So they worked on construction and making one for them. But suddenly, on March 26, 2005, it exploded, killing Nishida Jun. Despite his short-lived life and career, his works are still displayed around the world. Let's start with the work that inspired this video, Zetsu No. 8 from 2003. A mixture of fired and unfired porcelain with various glazes come together in this tri-segmented artwork. Its central fragment towers over the others, with large portions jutting out. The top is smooth and flows like a river, various colors of glaze and porcelain dancing around one another. It continues to the other pieces of the work, swirling around the river bends, seamlessly continuing into its neighbor. Subtle hints of color throughout the rocky base mimic igneous rocks, formed from the crystallization of lava. Sharp shatters crash against the waves of the polished surface. The lower layers are none the wiser to such disturbances above. Fluidity presents itself again in the way it drips, melting like an iceberg. You can see the layers pour over and form these beautiful marbling patterns. Shiny and soft, it melds into the rough base. Sharp and stoic, it contrasts not much in the way of color, but in its texture and movements. Rather than graceful, it crudely lunges at you until it is abruptly stopped. It's chalky, with imperfections and pink hues dispersed randomly. In the side, however, it creates more elegant arc, like the rings of Saturn. Cracked, but still intact, it leaves your imagination to finish the motion of its path. Thus, it entices you to walk around each portion, enacting the motion it silently suggests. Intricate, complex, and aesthetically pleasing, Zetsu No. 8 presents itself as a marvelous work. Nishida's expertise is on full display, his talent so obvious. No matter how long you look at this work, you'll always find something new the next minute. Juxtapositions of stoic emotion, of rough and gentle, are perfectly composed in an unforgiving medium. Although our journey was brief, I hope you enjoyed it. Finding information for this project was honestly quite difficult. There were few articles about him, with almost all only being a paragraph or two, and had the same basic information. It's sad because his works are really amazing. Since I was only looking at English articles, I knew there wouldn't be many, but I still had never seen such a scarcity of information about an internationally recognized and prized artist before. However, there was one longer post written by Oyoma Wahe in 2005, which was a good read. The link to that and all the other sources I used to create this video are down below. Hopefully, more people will begin to write about him and his accomplishments. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe to see more of my content. That's a wrap for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.